We saw the Dare Commission pop up, and we felt like the theme of the festival really fit with what we were trying to do. And we'd heard about it as a place that was really kind of welcoming and warm. So we thought, oh, we'll go for it, but we're at such early stages, we don't really expect to get it. And then when we went to the interview day, we met all the other artists. It was just really lovely to see that Upstart was so interested in the initial seed of an idea and how that they could help that grow. So once we got it, we had a really lovely time at the Artist Development Days because they helped us push our show in a way that we never could have thought about before. It helped us see how we could use audience and how we could use a guest performer in a totally different way. And Tom was really generous with his time. He had a couple one-on-one chats with us to, when we got stuck, help us move it along. So there was always support. Being able to have a day where you talk to your peers, go away, and then come back to share again with your peers is really unique. I haven't heard of that model anywhere else. But also the kind of work that they are interested in is not work that has a home in other scratches. I mean, our show, the audience stands the whole time, and we serve them bread, and then we ask them loads of questions, and they have to answer. We have them place themselves on a map. Like, that doesn't fit into the traditional new writing night. It doesn't fit into the traditional performance art night. It's somewhere in between, and Dare was okay with that, and they encouraged that. So that was really nice. I also think the festival's different because you can fail. If we hadn't gotten the Dare Commission, we probably wouldn't have made the show. So it's really nice to know that someone admires your ideas and your thinking and trusts you, I think, to make something crazy. Because without this, I think Beth and I would have sat in a room for a long time and talked about it and maybe been like, oh, we're making something, but we don't know where it will live. But now we have such a lovely launch pad and so many ideas and so many collaborators that we didn't have before, and we can go away and actually make it into something really exciting.
I think what makes it unique is there's quite a lot of support in making the work, and like you're commissioned to make a brand new piece of work as well. So yeah, having the artist days and like it also having quite a chill approach as well is really lovely. So we performed it last night for the first time, and just people saying it was really funny and really good, which is really nice. Because actually for us, throughout the process, we didn't want any feedback. We wanted to just like, we've got our thing going on and that's enough for us right now. So this is definitely, yeah, really great in the way that you get it, you give it the money, and you are kind of supported the whole way through it.
So for everybody that's watched this, I've only heard nice stuff. So yeah, I think everybody enjoyed it. You hope everybody enjoys it all the time, but to hear them actually say, that was good, that was sick, this, I like this bit, I like the song, I like this. And it's nice, especially when they like different aspects of it. So, for example, some people liked, oh, I liked this line. Some people liked, I liked him doing that. Some people said, I liked the song. So it's like, it's not just one person's work in the theatre or in the performance that's liked. It's like different aspects of it. So it's like overall it's liked, and then everybody's hard work is noticed and appreciated.
It's really nice to be able to establish a relationship whereby just because you've done it before, it doesn't mean you can't get chosen again, because I think this is for like upcoming artists and people who want to be in the theatre industry. If you've got to keep doing shows, otherwise you just drift, trying to get money and stuff like that. And if you're not practicing your craft, then you just don't know how you're developing as an artist. And it's really nice to establish that long-term relationship with Dare, I guess. And it's nice to see how they've changed. The artist development days weren't as intense as they were this year.
As an emerging artist, Dare is really unique because it's an opportunity to try something new in front of an audience that you still haven't fully worked out yet, and it's okay for it to still be a work in progress. But also it's the opportunity to get a bit of resource that's provided for every artist in the festival to invest in some things that you wouldn't normally be able to in terms of tech and so on very early on in the process. And lastly, it's a fantastic opportunity to be part of a community of other artists and to get advice and support from them through the artist development days. So if you have an idea and you're an emerging artist and you just want a bit of support and some advice on how to put it together in front of an audience, Dare Festival is absolutely fantastic. And I couldn't be doing my current project right now if it weren't for what I learned at this festival.
I love the format of this festival, celebrating the short form and the early stage of development, and how you can see a half-hour play, have a half-hour break where you get to talk about it, have a drink, hang out with your friends, and then see another show. And so throughout a whole night, you can see a huge variety of work, and still the time to be social and talk about it and think it's a really cool format for a festival, and I love it.
This is all very new and a form of theatre that is also quite new and unusual and built off of my own personal experiences, and I'm playing my own self within the show, so that's all new and different and very developmental, and it allowed me to pursue performing in a completely different capacity as a busker and an actor and a musician.
And a human.
Thanks, Debbie. I really appreciated how much Dare pushed me out of my comfort zone as a performer as well, and allowed me to be brave and vulnerable with my work.
The artist development days are about sharing a bit of your work and then talking about either the work that you've shown or ways you want to develop it, and hashing out questions and finding people's responses to the work that you're putting out and that kind of thing. I think there are definitely things that we have tried as a result of the conversations that we've had and the input of other artists, which we wouldn't have had if we hadn't have been here. So there are definitely ways in which the show has developed as a result directly from Dare.
Been applying for a lot of things like this to sort of help with development. And there's nothing where it's longer than really a week. It might be 2 weeks, but it's kind of solid. There's nothing that over months you meet. And it's quite nice because then you know that you have a base to come back to, and you have people who have very interesting ideas who will be quite honest with you about your work. So it's a very open, sort of safe atmosphere. And it's nice having it over that amount of time because you see each other grow and you see the pieces grow. The time you get between each development day means you have time to actually think on it rather than then having to come in straight away maybe the next day and present something from that. We actually have had time to process feedback, have really good discussions on it, try stuff out, see what actually works, and then come back and be like, right, we can take that we might leave for another time. And also taking in the kind of spaces that we have here. It's really good to remake a show that can kind of fit in any of the spaces, which we've not really done. We've always made the show specifically for a space, whereas this has kind of created for us a style of show that can talk now.
Dare enabled me to develop this stage, which is a really early stage of the local. I applied for the commission, and part of the commission is obviously there's some money attached to it, so it allows you some time to work kind of solely on it without having to juggle other things. But it's also given me a deadline to create something. It has given me the support of other Dare artists, which I was really surprised at how invaluable that was actually, how valuable, sorry, that was, to be able to come in for these kind of Dare development days and discuss your idea freely, openly, especially at a time when in theatre people can get really secretive and protective of their ideas. To just come in and go, yeah, this is where I'm at, this is the problem that I've got, has anyone got any solutions? From something artistic through to, does anyone have a taxidermy fox right, that we can use in our play? So for me, that's just been especially kind of crucial and one of the main elements of Dare. I wouldn't be at the stage that I'm at, and I wouldn't have felt so free to test something. And for me, specifically, I'm testing how to interact with the audiences as if they are skate park users. I wouldn't have been able to do that had it not been for the core principles of Dare, which is kind of new work in development, daring something new to happen.
In terms of what Dare's given me, it's actually kind of been an artistic community.
Yeah.
Like, we're really new to London, like we're always based in South West. And it's kind of been a bit of a rival, sort of meeting other artists who are either a bit further on in their career on the same stage and just going, actually, I now feel like I have a load of people's numbers that I could go, help, how do I make this? And I think without a community of artists, I don't really know how you move forward and keep making.
Yeah, and that's been really nice about their festival, because it's the only festival I've put work into where everyone genuinely goes and sees everyone's work, and everyone is genuinely interested and supportive across the whole platform.
It's acting as, well, hopefully we'll act as, you know, a C commission. That means that we can do an ACE bid, which otherwise we wouldn't. If you can't get the match funding for the ACE bid, then the entire show can't develop.
Yeah.
And it's allowed us to reach out to academics because it's a respected, like, sort of festival, and we're able to go, hey, we're doing this festival, so then support us with your research. And it's just, it's opened doors, I think.
Yeah,
in that way.
like we've had some like venues who've come and watched us because that we're here.
Yeah, we've got
because
programmed at another venue because of doing this.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was really helpful.
That was amazing.
And because also Dare Festival has now got a reputation, that's really useful. We've just been able to sort of say Dare Festival to people, and people have gone, oh, I know what that is, and that's really cool. To get excited about being creative and making theatre through helping and advising on other people's you've then been able to like take a step back from your own work, and then you make better choices.
Also, I mean,
it helps you get past like writer's block
and
type syndrome for theatre.
It gives you the skill of being a dramaturg for other people, which is, I think, quite often is a skill you don't get to practice and is really invaluable, learning how to critique other people's work.
I think I get more of an awareness coming this time around, because last time I was so involved in producing the show that I was working on that I didn't actually get such a great overview of other stuff, even though we put in this whole process of working on stuff together. I'm not sure how stuff came out in the end. But this sort of coming and imagining that I don't know anything about the process behind it feels like a germinating ground, which I think is what Dare intends to do. Yeah, and it feels like it's launching things, and feels like it's a space for things to not be ready, which is great.
It's a really good validation of ideas, I think. I'm recognising the potential in ideas rather than finished product, and recognising that people starting out don't necessarily yet have the skills and the wherewithal and the resources to make something the way it should eventually be, or the way that they want it to be. So as an investment in ideas, I think that seems to be something that Dare is about.
It's been a great opportunity for us to test out a really sort of radical, crazy idea. We've had a lot of support from the, from Upstart Theatre and also from Shoreditch Town Hall to get the idea up on its feet. They've been an amazing sounding board. They've given us tons of resources, and it's meant that we could take a really long time to develop something which is very, very complex with a group of untrained actors, and execute something which is really technically very, very difficult to do, and then put it in front of a really generous audience and receive feedback that we can take away and figure out how we want to then further develop the piece if we want to. They are willing to put their money where their mouth is and provide financial support for ideas that are in their most infant phase when they're initially pitched. To know that you not only have that resource, but then also a really reputable venue to perform in, a space that has technical elements to it. I mean, that is not a scratch night. That's a gift. But I think also the fact that they said from day one, look, this is a festival in which you can present something and it can fail, and that's okay. Part of the process of learning whether something is going to work is to test it out, watch it fall flat in its face, or watch it not fall flat in its face, and learn from that. So regardless of whether it was a successful performance or two performances or they were complete failures, it doesn't matter. The spirit of the festival is, look, wherever you're at, test the idea out, and you have to experiment, and you have to test ideas to know whether they're going to work in the long term.
Being around artists that we wouldn't necessarily make the same thing, but because I've seen their in development pieces leading up to it, I feel so invested in their pieces, and I feel like it's like a little community, and I think that's another thing that it's nice that Dare's kind of nurtured that. I think a lot of the time in the arts you're expected to work unpaid for free, which you can only do to a certain extent. Have something to begin this piece was it was really significant.
To get the feedback of what people wanted to see more of, or what questions people had afterwards, really informed what direction the show went in.
Yeah, because the audience is such a huge part of like our shows.
Yeah.
So to have the people at Dare kind of be the testing ground and sounding board for that.
It was the first time that my collaborator and I had ever worked together, so it's our very first piece, and I don't think many outlets would take a chance on something like that and give us the space to sort of figure out what we were and what we wanted out of the piece. I think we came to them with something that was really, really raw. We were being given trust as artists, and I've, in my career so far, found that pretty rare to have like really implicit trust from a company that's kind of offering you space and time. So I think it honestly, it's the only reason why the piece sort of it exists today, like, and is going forward. Like we kind of have the opportunity now, a year on, to develop the piece into something much bigger, and it's really only because we had that time to kind of muscle through questions that were really difficult at the time, and stuff we had just absolutely no answer to.
Without support from Upstart Theatre, also Shoreditch Town Hall, also the festival, the show would have never happened, I think. Maybe I always wanted to make something about the financial struggles of artists, but I didn't have the money to do so, I didn't have the space, I didn't have the support I have now. But with all the support for Dare Festival, we applied for Arts Council funding and we got it. So it's a bit ironic, we're making a show, we can't get enough money, but we got the money. But just like with that money and also with all the other support, like just for them being there and answering emails, and that would be so lovely, just like we feel so supported, and this show could have never happened without Upstart Theatre or Dare Festival.
I personally find it really useful to get to know all of the artists, because everyone, despite all being emerging artists, everyone has such a different direction that they're coming from, and then also the show that they're making are very different in the end. So I think it's definitely useful to like see a variety out there and be able to perhaps like build a connection to have the opportunity to work with them in the future, or just find out about these varieties is really great.
Working with Dare's is an incredible opportunity to test something out in front of an audience with a huge amount of support around you in this festival, which is going to be, you know, it's going to be well attended, and then actually it sells out every year. So it means that you're guaranteed kind of an audience to come in and engage with the work on the terms that you want, which is really unusual. There is sort of a time limit, which means you're not having to make an entire show, but also you can test up to 30 minutes, which feels like a really good amount of time if you want to use that. There is support, and you are part of a community of people that are looking at the work in the way that is useful for you. They know it's work in development. They know that you might be script in hand, or they know that these ideas aren't the ideas that might emerge over a year or 2 years' time. So you've got a really good frame around what you're presenting, which feels useful.
It's a bit nerve-wracking because it's like the first thing we ever made. So like having to perform it like without any of like things before, it's just like the writer and director that's seen it. So having other people say that they liked it was a bit, yeah.
I think it's good actually. It kind of gives us also, it's almost like an experiment as well, just to kind of like get this essence of how it would actually be on stage and how a certain audience would react to certain bits, and it kind of gives us a few pointers on how to maybe change a few bits and add a few bits and stuff as well. And yeah, it's pretty much like a little research and development sort of thing.
It's actually been a good experience. Like it was like we learned a lot of stuff that we can now use to like further push the play.
Yeah, man, like it was a very good experience for us as collaborators as well. This is the first time we've ever worked together, and it just feels like a good step to take, especially considering like Dare Festival is a good platform to, you know, try our stuff out, get feedback, etc., and all that good stuff.
T1 is 10 out of 10 out of 10.
I love this guy. I'm actually said it.
If you feel like you've got an idea that you really want to push and test, whether you're a visual artist, a theatre maker, a dancer, a choreographer, then it feels like there's the place to be, man.